One of the most important concepts relating to trading psychology, discipline. That's what we're going to go over today. Okay, this is a very key component. I would honestly put it as one of the big pillars of successful trading, right? We have having a strategy that has an edge. We have trading psychology. We have risk management, discipline, and continuous learning. Those are kind of my 5 pillars of day trading. And discipline is honestly a very, very big, important one. Because without discipline, there's no way you can have all the other 4 pillars. They will all fall down. They all break down and crumble. And your performance just down the drain. So, discipline. Let's get into it. What is discipline? So, discipline, I'm sure you all know, is a act of doing something, engaging in some sort of behavior, some sort of act, regardless of what you feel, regardless of how you feel, day in and day out. Just following your orders, following what you need to do, regardless of the scenario, the situation you're placed in, right? Doing what you know you need to do, regardless of what's happening outside of that. Okay? Now, how does this apply to trading? In trading, being disciplined means usually following your trades, following your plan, doing what you need to do, taking the trades your strategy tells you to do, and not engaging in emotional trading or letting your emotions take over and trading with that instead of using your logic. Okay? It can be a very tough thing to get down. Don't get me wrong, especially for someone who's recently getting into the markets. It can be very difficult to get down because it's tempting to want to take trades that look good, that potentially look like they might be the next home run to get you that big win, or just maybe you missed out on a trade and it ends up going in your direction and you want to jump in. All these little things that might cause you to break your discipline and break your habit of following your plan and following your consistency day in and day out. It can be very tempting. So discipline is something that's not built overnight. It's not built over weeks, sometimes not even over months, right? For some people, it might take a shorter amount of time to build, some people a longer amount of time, but it takes a long period, I would say, of going through losses to realize how important discipline is and how not being disciplined and not following your plan is going to get you nowhere, right? For me, the case of being disciplined happened after I was on such a bad losing streak, such a bad losing period, just literally felt like I hit rock bottom mentally, and reality just hit me that I need to follow my trades, I need to follow my plan, or else this shit is not gonna work. After going through so many losses, it's almost like an aha moment where it clicks in your head that you need to stay disciplined, and you need to follow your rules and need to follow your plan, or else you're practically gambling. Okay? So many people, after they trade, for example, 5 trades with one strategy, maybe even 10 or 15 trades with one strategy, will completely scrap the strategy because, oh, it doesn't work. Oh, I don't make that much money with it. This other types of trades I see it happening plays out a lot better. Oh, I keep missing the trades. I don't cash the whole home run. It's not profitable, blah, blah, blah. But they don't think in terms of probabilities. They don't think in terms of that trading is a numbers game. And don't involve the side of discipline, which means that you need to take your trades day in and day out over a large period of trades for you to actually see the results play out. Okay? You can't just expect after one trade to hopefully make a lot of money, or after 5 trades that if the strategy doesn't work on 5 trades, that means it doesn't work. That means I'm going to scrap it. I'm going to use my emotions, jump onto the next shiny object, and not stay disciplined to my strategy and to my plan. You need to rewire your brain and think in terms of probabilities. This is still aligned with discipline, right? Thinking in terms of probabilities. It's not the same exact thing, but it's still aligned with it. Why? Because there's an example I like to give, okay? It's called the coin toss example. We all know what is the chance of a coin landing on heads or tails. It's going to be 50-50. So when someone tosses a coin and it lands on heads, let's say someone tosses a coin for 10 different times, okay? Each time it lands on heads. That entire trial of 10 coin tosses, each time the coin landed on heads. Does this mean just because 10 out of 10 times the coin landed on heads that the coin is broken? That the coin has a system behind it that we can profit off of? Oh, a technique, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we need to copy this technique, or the coin is broken. It won 10 times out of 10 times. So this must be a broken coin. I have a secret broken coin. That's not the case. because you're not letting the probabilities play out over a long number of trials. The more you toss the coin, the more the probability of those heads and tails will lean towards the actual true statistical value of the true probability, which is going to be 50-50, right? We all know no matter what, the coin toss will be 50 regardless of what happened in the past, like what happened in the future. Over a large number of trials of us tossing the coin, it will be 50-50. Okay, if we toss probably 1,000 coins, we most likely will have around 50% heads and tail percentage, or heads and tail rate, whatever you want to call it. This is why you guys need to understand and compare this same aspect to trading. The same concept can be related to trading. If you're actually taking your trades, following your system, and you've only taken 5 trades, you shouldn't judge your win rate and your probabilities based on those 5 trades. Because just like the coin toss, you're not letting the actual probabilities play out. If you guys don't believe what I'm saying, you can look it up yourself. It's literally a true statistical kind of law, you can call it. The law of large numbers, and there's the gambler's fallacy as well, which we'll go over as well. The law of large numbers states that you need to let the large sample size play out for you to get the actual statistic, not a small sample size, because a small sample size doesn't have enough trials to give you a true statistic that's close to the actual theoretical probability. Okay, and this is not some complicated math terminology. That's all I'm saying is you need to let the number of trials play out. You need to do a larger number of trials, for example, a larger number of trades for you guys to get the statistics of your actual trading performance, right? Now, after 5 trades, you're not going to know if you won all those trades. Doesn't mean you have a 100% win rate, right? It's just for that 5 trades you had a 100% win rate. But overall, the more trades you take, the more you're accurate, the more your realistic percentage will play out. The more your realistic percentage will show itself and reveal itself, right? So if you take 50 trades, you might, let's say you have a 1-2 risk reward with a 50% win rate, you might have a series of 5 trades that just win. But that doesn't mean that your strategy has a 50% win rate. This is why you need to let that 50 trades play out. If you let that 50 trades play out, you'll probably come back to that true statistic of a 50% win rate. Just like a coin toss. Someone might flip a coin 10 times, lands on heads 9 out of 10 times, and land on tails 1 out of 10 times. But that doesn't mean that the statistic of the coin is broken, right? They just didn't let the coin play out long enough. Right, and if we have like 10 different people who are tossing the coin 10 times, one person might land on heads 9 out of 10 times. One person might land on tails 9 out of 10 times. One person might land on heads exactly 5 out of 10 times. One person might land on heads 0 times and just tails the whole time. Right? There's a bunch of different combinations that can happen in that trial of 10 coins that can be very, very different. Right? And the reason being is because we're not letting the true statistic play out by taking a larger sample size of trades. Now, if all of them probably tossed 1,000 times, they probably would all end up having a similar probability in terms of heads and number of heads and number of tails. And the same aspect works towards trading. You can't just take 5 trades and expect that your win rate is going to be what that 5 trades is. You have to take more and more trades. This concept applies to when you're backtesting and when you're testing live, right? You want to have a large enough sample size to take your trades so you get a true probability of what your performance is, not over a short-term basis. And a lot of you guys get emotional and don't let that statistic play out long enough. After 5 or 10 trades, you might even have like a 4 losing streak, and now you're just like, I give up, I hate my strategy, taking loss after loss after loss. What strategy shouldn't have this 4-day losing streak? That's impossible. But you don't realize that there's also other times where you might have a 5-day win streak with a 1-2, for example. So the opposite is also there if your win rate is, if you let your win rate play out. It's just, you're just judging your strategy on a short-term basis. The same goes towards winning your trades on 5 trade basis. For example, you might win a trade for 5 days, win your trades 5 days back-to-back, 5 trades, each day, back-to-back, you won. You're like, wow, this strategy is crazy good. I won 5 trades back-to-back. This is the best strategy I've ever seen. But then if you continue trading it, it ends up being unprofitable because you start taking a lot more losses. You just realize you're on a lucky win streak, and your strategy doesn't really have any edge. It's not robust. It doesn't have any strength. It's not able to beat the market. You're not able to make consistent returns in the market. This is why I say being profitable is not just it. You need to also show consistent profitability long term, right? Someone can be winning for 5 days straight and make money, but they need to show that they're able to consistently show good results in their backtest and their forward test for them to deem their strategy reliable and legit. okay, and working for them. That's why when you're backtesting, it's important to get at least 50, like the more the better, but at least 30 to 50 trades so you can get a realistic amount of realistic analytics on your strategy, so you can see what the true performance is like about your strategy, right? So this isn't going to work for you if you guys don't have confidence in your system. If you don't follow your rules day in and day out, and you kind of tweak stuff here and there as you're going, you're never going to get an accurate amount of data because you're constantly changing stuff. You have to stick to one approach and one kind of trading plan with a specific amount of specific rules for a long period of time to see the actual performance play out. If you guys change the rules after 10 trades or 15 trades, then you have to literally just reset that trading sample size and start from right when you change those rules. And the more you keep changing those rules, the more you're going to have to reset and recalculate and understand the approach and the performance behind your strategy. So my tip to you guys would be stay disciplined by following your trades for at least a long enough period of time, following your strategy for a long enough period of time, like 30 to 50 trades at least, to see the true probabilities play out. Honestly, 30 to 50 is not enough. I would ideally recommend 60 to 80 trades. The more the better, like I said, because the more trades you take, the more accurate your probabilities will be. Along with that, how can we maximize our discipline? So how do we maximize our discipline and minimize our emotional trading? The one thing you guys can do that can help a lot with this is enter every single day with a trading plan. Also, along with that, actually two things you guys can do. Enter every day with a trading plan and have a checklist for your specific strategy. I always preach this for someone who's recently trying to build a strategy, trying to build down a system. Always have a checklist and enter the day with a trading plan. Now, what is a trading plan? A trading plan is a routine or a rule that you tell yourself that you're gonna go about as the market is opening, as the market is basically forming and it's going forward. These are the rules you're going to follow as the market is playing forward. Okay. For example, that might be, okay, currently market is about to open out. This and this is happening. These are my rules that I want to see happen. I want to see this happen. If this happens, I'm going to do X. But if this doesn't happen, we get something like that, then I'm going to do Y. Okay. So you're kind of defining what different routes you're going to take based on what the market does. And this takes experience to understand. This takes experience to build, right? You need time in the market to kind of build this understanding. That's why you guys I highly recommend backtesting, because that helps build your intuition, helps build your experience down. Along with just sitting there and watching the live market, you start to get a little bit of a intuition on how the market moves and getting, experience with your strategy, which is going to be very handy in the live market when you're trying to build your strategy and test it live and stay disciplined to it. So when you enter your trades, always enter with a plan. Have it written down if that's easier, or on your computer. Either one is fine, but always have it written down somewhere. You want to be aware of what your plan is going to the day and follow that to the T. Okay, and after market's done, after market's closed, you want to go back and analyze your plan and see, was your plan right? Did I follow my plan? Did my emotions get to me, and did I break rules that were not part of my plan? Did I break rules that were part of my plan and go against my plan, which is what I meant to say. And this is all part of the journaling aspect that I mentioned to you guys, like I think it was last video, a few videos ago, the journaling video. Right? So all of these kind of concepts of trading and the concepts of a profitable trader, you need to apply these together day in and day out to see the results play out for you, right? It's not going to happen over a week. It's not going to happen over a month. Over time, as you take advantage of all the different methodologies that you should implement into your trading, you'll start to see the results play out after some time, because you might not be really good at, for example, journaling, but you might be really good at executing a strategy, staying disciplined to it. But for some reason, you can't journal that good and you can't understand your thought process, and you end up failing at your strategy just doesn't perform well. Maybe you're not that good at backtesting. Maybe someone's really good at backtesting, has a good strategy, but they can't stay disciplined to it, right? So you got to kind of max out all the different skill sets that are required to become a profitable trader. The next thing I wanted to cover was So we mentioned thinking probabilities, which is you guys know the coin toss example. We got to let your strategies play out over a large number of trades. We talked about following your trading plan, right? Entering with a plan and trading your plan, right? Planning your trade, trading your plan. It's a very popular quote, really good quote. And you guys heard me mention this before. Good losses, good wins, bad losses, and bad wins, right? We all know what those four are, right? But I'll break it down for you guys if you don't know. A good win is a win that you take following your system, following your strategy, following all of your rules. Okay, a good loss actually is one that you also take following your strategy, following your rules, but you end up taking a loss. Okay, so good win and good loss, you follow your strategy, you follow your plan, you do everything you're supposed to, follow your rules, did your discipline, but you ended up winning or losing. A bad win is one where you didn't follow your rules, didn't follow your strategy, you tried something new, whether you got in with emotion, whether you tweaked your strategy a tiny bit or didn't follow your plan just a very slight bit and ended up winning. That is a bad win. And if you lost on that trade, that would be an example of a bad loss. Not following your system, not following your rules, trying something new, getting emotional, FOMOing into a trade and losing that trade. That is a bad loss. The reason bad wins are the worst ones because they incorporate bad habits into you so you don't follow your trade, that you get used to not following your system, you build the habit of trying new stuff that don't align with your strategy and build the habit of just not following your trading plan. So we want to minimize these bad wins and bad losses to the point where we don't even have to think about it. We don't even think about following our rules. We just know we're supposed to regardless. Right? Because usually you'll have these bad wins and losses whenever you're going through these losing periods and losing streaks where, just like I mentioned earlier, you might have a period of 4-day losing streak where you're just like, damn, my strategy sucks. It doesn't work. It's broken. Let me just try something different this time. Maybe it will work. And then you have this bad win or a bad loss that enforces bad habits in you about going against your system, going against your rules. You start to tweak what you're doing. You start to change up what you're doing, potentially leading into strategy hopping, which is leading you down the rabbit hole of just building bad habits and setting you back like months and months. And now you have to break those bad habits, go back to where you were originally, and reinforce good habits. So you want to minimize these as much as possible and focus on just taking good wins and good losses. And how do we do this? We do this by defining our rules and defining our strategy and defining our plan going to the market every single day. And we have to understand this concept. If we don't follow our rules, we are practically gambling because we're trading something that has no data behind it. Right? The strategy that we create, the strategy that we test, we've tested through backtesting, so we have data behind it. And if we're testing in the live market, which you should only be doing if your backtest shows some profitable statistics, then now you can enter with some degree of confidence because the backtest now shows you there is some degree of potential profitability in the live market because the backtest shows some good signs. So after the backtest, now that you see it's profitable, you execute in the live market. And if you change your rules as you're trading in the live market after 5-10 trades, then you're not letting the true statistics play out. Just like I mentioned the coin toss example, you gotta let it play out to see the results. Right? I can't mention this enough. I always preach it. You gotta think in terms of probabilities, understand trading is a numbers game, and you need to stay disciplined to your rules, or else you're practically gambling because you're taking trades based on information that you don't have any data on, that you don't have any you don't have any data on. You don't have any understanding about the performance of the trades that you took with this modified rule set. So be confident in your system, and if you're lacking confidence, it's mostly due to you not having data behind it and you just implementing emotions. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like after watching this video, you're going to magically become disciplined. It takes time, but hearing it more often than not and putting time onto the charts and trying to understand, potentially rewatching this video and reapply the information that I'm telling you will help you get down the discipline part faster and faster and faster. Right? I didn't get down discipline until a year and a half into my trading journey. I would constantly get emotional after a few days of losing. I tried holding that emotional side down, and it even lasted for a week or something. But you guys have to understand, there are periods where you might even have red weeks, maybe even a red month, right? And still be profitable long term. Strategies have these periods of losses and even break-even months that you have to go through. You have to trade your strategy the same way you're supposed to trade it without getting psyched out, without getting emotional, without trying to change anything, because strategies that work long-term aren't going to have crazy results. They're going to have consistent results, but they're not going to be crazy, right? They're going to have a small edge in your favor, but that small edge is going to be enough of an edge to give you consistent profits long term. That's what we want to look for. Okay, so stay patient. If you're going through a losing period, understand what is it. What is this losing period? Is it me not following my trading plan or strategy? Am I getting emotional, or is it part of my just part of my profitable strategy statistics? Or is my strategy not profitable and I need to go back and backtest different set of parameters or optimize my strategy and change up what I'm doing? Okay, so either one of those three situations, just make sure, regardless, you're staying disciplined to your plan, staying disciplined to your rules, and doing what you know you need to do day in and day out. Because in the end, we all know what we need to do. Me and you both know what you should be doing after this video, which is getting back onto the charts, whether that be reflecting your trades for the day, backtesting your strategy, forward testing your strategy, staying disciplined and knowing that and understanding that I need to follow my plan, whatever it may be. You know what you need to do. And hopefully by hearing this video, it reminds you about what you need to do and reinforces the good habits that you need to be building, okay, in hopes that you don't have to keep going through bad habits and keep putting yourself back by falling under these emotional trades, these FOMOing trades, and not following your plan, not staying disciplined. So hopefully you guys learned some things about discipline in this video, about thinking in terms of probabilities. The understanding discipline is the key to literally success, and staying consistent and following your strategy and following your plan day in and day out. All right. Hopefully you guys gain some value out of that. If some topics you want me to explain deeper, let me know down in the comment section. I'll explain more about it. But for now, that's all I have for discipline. Hopefully you guys learned something. I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.